Hey there, happy day 1258 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. And today we're going to talk about blind leading the blind, and relationships. The most important relationship in the entire world to you, not to anybody else, the most important relationship to you. Do you know what that is? Let's lose the sunglasses. I only need them when I'm out in really super duper bright sunlight. And why am I attracted to the idiom, the expression of the blind leading the blind? Well, because I am legally blind at this point. Since in my early 20s, I started to have eye problems and uveitis and iritis, and the cortisone treatments and the shots in the eyes over the decades took the vision in my left eye first. And even after having cataract surgery, they discovered that they had gone too long before they had the cataract surgery because they couldn't see what was going on inside my eye, and it ended up destroying my eye and taking the vision out of my left eye. So didn't fix that, but got a little bit of color vision and a little bit of shape vision back out of that eye following cataract surgery when I was pregnant with my son. My son is now 30 years old, so that was 30 years ago that I had my first actual eye surgery. And then I've had a lot of other stuff go on, but I'm just talking about my eyes today. And then in 2011, following my sudden cardiac arrest in 2010, my right eye started to get sick and go down that same path. So in order to try to stem and prevent as much damage as happened to my left eye, I had cataract surgery down at Mayo Clinic in Rochester, and that worked pretty well for a couple of years. But about 4 years ago now, the vision in my right eye really started to deteriorate. So it's been a couple of years now that I've been considered legally blind. Now, why my eyes look wonky sometimes. Sometimes they are wonky. Sometimes I can't see anything. Things that people take for granted that they can see, like depth perception and birds and airplanes and things like that. Blind people, and blind is want to cover this because I didn't cover it in our idiom today, talking about the blind leading the blind. But the term blind, nobody's offended by that. If you're blind, you just can't see. There's visually challenged, legally blind. Legally blind applies to me because most people that are blind like to talk about blindness as being 100% blind, you can't see anything, versus some people that are excuse me, low vision or visually impaired. Visual impairment is like 20/40 vision or 20/30 vision. Most blind people would be more than ecstatic to have 20/30 or 20/40 vision, because that can be corrected with glasses and lenses. My vision is to the point where it can't be corrected any better than, I think, 2400 or 20, the high hundreds, even with lenses. So I use these just as sun protection from damage in UV rays, because our eyes, even though we're blind and can't see out of them, they can still be damaged by the sun. And since we tend to not blink maybe as much as other people because we can't see anyway, we don't need, but our eyes like lubrication, at least mine do. It's possible to get more damage to our eyes, which are already damaged to the point that we can't see. So it seems kind of like an oxymoron, but I still wear sunglasses when I go outside. Plus, light can still get in and irritate my eyes and give me migraines and things. So enough talking about blindness. Blindness to me is like any other challenge or handicap. It's just something that each of us has to deal with, our own unique situation, and figure things out for ourselves. Doesn't mean we have to let it slow us down. Does it mean we have to do things differently? Yes, I have to do a lot of things around my house differently than I did even 5 years ago. But that's okay, because it's one of those continually improving, continually evolving processes. We thrive when we're learning and growing and becoming and figuring things out. So I just have an automatic, built-in figuring things out opportunity at all times. But our idiom today for Supersize Your Business was the blind leading the blind. And I never knew that the ending of this was when the blind lead. It's a proverb from Matthew 15:14 in the Bible, of course, and from Proverbs. And the whole thing talks about the blind leading the blind. Leave them alone, because the blind leading the blind, eventually they all fall in a ditch. Or that's paraphrasing, but they all fall in a ditch. I didn't ever hear that part. And so I'm going to ignore that part now, because I don't intend to lead anyone into a ditch. But I do lead a lot of people, so I want to make sure that they don't think I am actually the blind leading the blind. Just metaphorically, the blind leading the blind means that somebody that doesn't know what they're doing or somebody that doesn't know what they're doing goes to somebody else who doesn't know what they're doing with respect to that topic, looking for advice, coaching, help, expertise. I see a lot of that in the online world. There's a lot of the blind leading the blind in the online world. Guess what? There's a lot, even more, blind leading the blind in the offline world. Corporate America was rampant with the blind leading the blind. And I think why this idiom appealed to me so much today is because it just jumped out when I was picking an idiom. I'm talking about leadership for the rest of the month with respect to supersizing and growing your business. And I think because COVID has been so much, and a lot of it has been lies and manipulation, but it's been so much misinformation, lack of information, false information that's being purported as truth, scientific information that has been prostituted and lied and manipulated to meet certain people's agendas, that it has felt like over a year of the blind leading the blind. And to many of us who have never even worried about things like that in the past, and not let the outside world impact or influence as much. COVID-19 is an example of everyone being forced to do things by our government, by our powers that be, we talked about that the other day, to create a certain set of circumstances that just aren't real. And guess what? That's like any other thing that's built on false information and lies. It will all crumble and fall. The truth will come out eventually, and we'll all know what really happened. But it doesn't even matter because we've already been impacted by the whole episode. Blind, like I said, is not an offensive term. I've never been offended. I've been, a little sad that my vision was going, but I've never felt bad like it was something that I had control over. I think that so often we feel guilty or shame over stuff we have absolutely no control over. And that shame and guilt is usually felt because other people outside of us are negatively commenting or judging, and then we pile on with our self-talk to feel even worse than the event that happened in the first place. So the blind leading the blind, I'd love to know if you've heard or used or felt or experienced this type of thing before. Have you ever gone to somebody that was supposed to teach you something? Or I gotta believe students in school sometimes go in and they're like, hey man, this is the new history teacher who usually teaches home ec, and they're teaching me history and they know nothing about it. This is the blind leading the blind. So many areas and aspects of our life we've been like or experienced people that don't know what they're doing teaching us things that we're supposed to know or that they're supposed to know about, but they've never done. They're not experts in it. One really, really interesting topic and really interesting way to experience the world. So that was my blind comment in the title today. And relationships, for our annual challenge this year, we're doing one thing every day that centers us. And our saying today was about Diane von Furstenberg sharing that very early on she realized that the most important relationship in her life was the one that she had with herself. And I was like, well, I wish I'd figured that out, because then I probably wouldn't be having to do an annual challenge on getting to know myself better, getting to know and figure out what centers me. But if I had figured it out, then we wouldn't be doing the challenge. So there's always that. There's always an upside to everything. I love to think about and look at situations that happen and say, okay, that just happened. Now, I can feel bad about it. I can bitch and whine and complain and moan about it. Or I can say, that just happened. What do I need to know about it? What do I need to do? And what can I learn from this? Because if I ask myself about those questions about what happens without all the emotion and all the judgment of it being bad or good, I can learn from any experience that I have, right? I can learn from any experience I don't have. I can learn vicariously through other people's experiences, so I don't have to learn them all myself, right? That is particularly true of things that go wrong, mistakes, lessons learned coming from other people's mistakes are the best ones, because you don't have to make the mistake and suffer the consequences yourself. At least that's my philosophy. So thinking today as I was waking up and getting ready about the next Get Up and Go challenge, it's just, well, I guess 21 days away, 3 weeks away. I guess I got some time. But I want to go back, take a quick look at what did I do before? What have I done? What are we morphing into? And now that I've had a couple month break from it, I want to say, all right, how can we make this even better, like 10 times better? How can this be 10 times better, 10 times more valuable? So I'm going to look at what I cover, the topics, the length of time. I've My goal has always been, and this is pretty funny for me to say, but it's always been to keep the daily videos to 10 minutes or less for several reasons, but primarily because people are so busy. And the whole purpose of a challenge is to break it down into bite-sized pieces so that you can do it, so that I can do it, so that we can do it, and we can accomplish a little piece, a little step every day. And at the end of the challenge, we can see by looking back that there's been a massive change, a massive transformation, a massive improvement in the area or aspect of our life that we are creating the change in. So I'm going to be working on that probably this weekend. I want to do a little bit just of review and analyzing and figuring out what works, what doesn't, what tools are the best tools to share. Because I've shared probably hundreds of tools over the course of the months since the first one. The first one I think was April of 2020. The first Get Up and Go challenge, the first free 30-day plus Get Up and Go challenge was April of 2020. So and then the seventh one was April of 2021, and that's the last one I've done this year. So number 8's coming up August of 2021, and I want to make sure every time I do it that it's better and better and better and better. Better for me? No. Better for you. Better for the people that are doing the challenge right along with me. Now, I will admit selfishly, I want it to be better and better and better and better because I do the challenge right along with people. Whenever I do a challenge, I don't just do a challenge and spit out a bunch of information at people and expect them to do homework and things and then pick out the people that participate and go on and sell them my high ticket offer. Yeah, that's a great strategy. It's a great marketing plan, but I don't do that. I do the whole Get Up and Go challenge just to give back and share information with people and share some of the lessons that I've learned, because 2020, if it taught us anything, it's that we need to help one another out. We need to make sure that we do what we can for other people to make the world a better place, not to go after our own self-interest and just see how much we can scratch and claw and get for ourselves out of any situation. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that have made billions of dollars during COVID-19. There are a lot of industries that have been advanced beyond what would have happened in the next decade had there not been the pandemic. There are a lot of people who have come out very well in the pandemic and all of the media crap that's gone on in 2020 and continues rampantly in 2021. It's quite pathetic, but if you step back, do your own thing, keep doing what you're doing and creating what you want to create in the world, it really doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter because, again, like I said, truth will out. The truth will come and bubble up to the top, and it might take a while, but it always happens. Good triumphs over evil, always. It always does. And sometimes when we're in dark times and we feel like everything's against us, those are the times we're just forging and getting stronger, honing our skills, creating what it is that we want in our life, and we explode into the success that we all deserve and want. And people will look at you and say, "Oh my gosh, that you're an overnight success! Yay, yay! You're in the spotlight." Knowing that that's always fleeting and short-lived. Outside accolades are important to some people, but if you're living for the outside accolades, that's building your house on sand instead of a strong foundation, and it will crumble and fall. It usually does. Whenever we build anything, if we don't build the foundation first, if we don't build the framework first, the structure to help it stand the test of time, the test of experiences, the test of challenges, it will crumble and fall. How do I know? I've had stuff crumble and fall. I've built things, and businesses included, that were not based on a solid understanding, a solid business plan, not to talk about business plans, but a solid foundation, or for a solid reason. You know, I've had businesses just to make money because we could not take advantage, but we could provide a product or service really, really quickly, make a lot of money, and then be done. I don't believe in that anymore. I believe that we're all here to make a difference, to make the world a better place. And so the projects and the businesses and the things that I do and create, I want them to be of real value to people. All right, that's it. That's what I'm working on. Have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, ask in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow to just let you know what I'm doing as I transition from the brick and mortar world, the world of corporate America, to the online world. And then, like I've said, in 2021, a little bit back and forth. Have an amazing day. If I can help you in any way, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow.